Okay, welcome to the CryEngine Programming Lecture Series at SNHU. I'm Tom Adamson, visiting professor. And let's see, this is Lecture 9 on the game. CryEngine, the flow graph programming. Lecture 9, the game. Okay, your next series. So this is the next series of lectures that you're going to have. Your next series of lectures will consist of the game logic design for a generalized game created in the CryEngine. In other words, I'm going to outline a generalized game that could be created in the CryEngine. You may or may not create it, but you're going to be responsible for the logical design of that game using the flow graph that's built in the CryEngine. So basically, here's the game. The game takes place on a secret island. What else would you expect? In a remote location somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. And of course, this island here, you could replicate something like this using the CryEngine editor, a three-dimensional thing with the water around it and all kinds of goodies on the island. What you see here, this is an overview. It's just sort of a graphic of what the island would look like, what's on the island. You secretly land on the island, and you discover the treasures, and and don't get eliminated by the bad guys. That's basically what you do. So here you are. You secretly land on this island. You have some supplies. There's treasures secretly located all over the island. You discover these treasures, and as you discover them, you get treasure points that you can use to get goodies with. And there's three bad guys on the island that don't like you going around getting treasures from the island. These bad guys have supply huts. Each bad guy has his own supply hut. And each of the supply huts is supplied with a port. So periodically a boat will come in, have supplies, the bad guy will take it and put it into his supply hut. Okay. Getting rid of bad guys makes treasure finding a lot easier. However, you can try and steal supplies from a bad guy's hut, supply hut. They have really cool weapons there, and they also have medical supplies to help you get healed from the bad guys shooting up at you. If you get rid of a bad guy, you get rid of one of these, no more supplies can come in from his port. But you can raid a supply port, like you go to a supply port before a bad guy gets there and get the goodies that the bad guy could have gotten for his supply place. Okay. What can happen? Well, given enough time, the game will automatically replace a bad guy. So the longer you hang out collecting treasure points and what have you, even though you got some of the bad guys, eventually a bad guy will be replaced by one of the ports. One of the things you'll find is the supply depots can have some really cool stuff that you can steal. Like here's an armored personnel character you can go around in and what have you. Hey, that's pretty cool. With enough treasure points, you can hire someone to help you. And that's neat because now this guy here can help you get some of the bad guys while you're out getting some of those really cool treasure points. Okay, so with that said, that's sort of an introduction to the game. There's more information about it that we'll cover in future lectures. You are to design a logic system that meets the following requirements, okay? There are 3 NPCs, all your enemies. 3 non-player characters, all of them are your enemies. Each NPC has the following data. They have health, which is an integer, experience, which is an integer, a level, which is an integer, a rank, which is a string, an accuracy, which is a float, a determination, which is a float, and an enemy, which is a boolean. In other words, they're either an enemy true or they're not an enemy, and that'll be false. There are more requirements for this game, but you will first design a logic system that will replicate these requirements that you see here. Okay? So, here's the way that you'll do it. You will start with an XML file for each NPC. You'll have here's the 3 NPC XML files. This is for NPC 1, this is for NPC 2, this is for NPC 3. But you'll also need an XML file for yourself. You are the player character, so you'll need an XML file here. Now, you'll create these files in Notepad and save them to the game SDK folder with an XML file extension, just like you see here. They'll be in the SDK game folder. Okay. Here's a suggestion of what the inside of each of the files should look like. And my suggestion is copy what you see here so that we can have the same kind of data as we go through designing, as we go through the exercise of designing this game logic for this. As you can see, the root element for each of the NPCs is NPC. There's the health, the experience, the level, the rank, the accuracy, the determination, and whether or not they're enemies. All of these up here are, of course, enemies. Don't forget, you can get an NPC where the enemy would be false. In other words, he's your friend. Here's the PC data. Now, what accuracy and determination means, we'll talk about that. Those are processes that we'll be building into the flow graph as we go down the road. Notice that the data for the PC is a little bit different from that of the NPCs. You don't have a determination one here because, well, that's you, the player. You do have a data field or a data element that's called treasure points. These are the treasure points that you collect while you're going around getting the treasure. And of course, treasure points are very important. Okay? So, your first task in doing this game is to construct a flow graph that will allow game interaction with the given XML data files that were just presented here. Okay, good luck, and thanks for your attention, and please feel free to leave comments and suggestions as we continue this lecture series.